Hello and welcome to this instructional video. I'm going to demonstrate to you today on how to use FreeNAS permissions with Samba. Now, there seems to be a lot of confusion in the community, especially with newer users, that find that the Samba shares are read-only. One user can write to the share, others cannot. So hopefully, what I'm going to try and do here today is try and clear that up for you. So assist you to understand how permissions work with Samba and FreeNAS. So I may go a little bit fast. So if you're not sure, feel free to rewind or pause or whatever. I do tend to prattle on a little bit, so I do apologize if I talk too much. But without further ado, let's get started. So I've already got a FreeNAS VM here. This is running VirtualBox if you're interested. Not that it really matters right now. I've given it a fair amount of RAM and whatever. It's up and running. So to get started, I'm going to show you a few things what I've done to prepare this VM. Now, whenever I set up a new FreeNAS system or any system really, I always like to have a users group. So this is a group which I used where I add every user I create, just so I know that I've created them manually. I know, and if I need them to access a universal resource, then I can just assign that group to it. So I've created a group here, users, and I've also got a couple of users as well, and they are using the users group as their primary group. This means when I created the user, it did not create a group as the same name as the user. So when I add a new user, I'm unticking the create a new primary group for the user, and I'm setting the primary group as users. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to start creating a data set, then we're going to assign some permissions. So let's create a new data set. I'm going to call this shared. It's the shared share. And I'm going to set the share type as Windows. Now this is really important. This tells ZFS that this is going to be used as a Windows share and to enable the Windows permissions on the ZFS dataset. So now I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call it the same name as the dataset, which is shared. And I'm now going to assign the permissions. So a couple of things. The owner. For me, I always set this to nobody. Nobody is a built-in group. It's typical of any Unix or Linux system. It's designed for services and other stuff that doesn't need any sort of elevated permission in order to operate. There's nobody in no group. Sometimes you have a service that will run like a web server, or we can use nobody in no group, etc. But in this case, we're just setting it so nobody's ever going to log into the nobody account. It's disabled by default. You cannot log into it. But for the owner, we are going to use shared. That's the group we just created. Now you also notice down here, mode is all this is grayed out. The reason for this is because it's a Windows data set. So we are using Windows permissions. Therefore, regular Linux permissions do not apply in this case. And the permission type is Windows. I don't think you can even, you can change it, but I recommend you leave it as Windows because this will allow you to manage the permissions through Windows Explorer. I'm not going to go into that today. This is just a basic get you going, and then you're on your own to figure out exactly what you need beyond that. All right, so now I've got my shared data set. I've now got my shared group. Okay, lastly, the last thing I need to do is add my user to the group. So in this case, I'm going to add them to shared. So I've selected my user. I scroll down to auxiliary groups. I select the group. I add them to shared. So you notice it disappears like that. Okay. So now I've got my user, they're assigned to the shared group. The shared group then has access to the dataset, but it's known as the owner. So this means they have full access. Now, as I said just a few moments ago, that if you want to advance with Windows permissions, this is something you're going to have to refer to the documentation instantly, which can be found at doc.freenas.org. And I strongly recommend you read the documentation, understand it, because it's a fantastic resource. All right, so now we're going to create a new share. So I'm creating a new CIF share. I'm going to point it to my new data set. In this case, it's shared. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it shared. We're going to apply the default permissions. We're not going to allow guest access. That's fine. Okay, and since it's the first time I'm starting this service, it's going to prompt me, do I want to enable it? Well, yes, I do. So there we go. So I've now created my share. I've now got my data set, and I've also now got my group. So I now should be ready to access the shared folder. So let me fire up Windows Explorer here. I've already previously connected to this. So I'm going to connect using different credentials. The reason I'm doing this is because the user I'm logged on as doesn't have the same username or password to authenticate against the FreeNAS VM. So what this will do, this will tell Windows, hey, I'm logging in, but with a different username, and it will prompt me. Okay, so I'm going to be logging on as user 1. And there we go. It's mapped my drive. So notice it's got shared. I'm in the shared share. And hopefully, if I've done this correctly, I can create directories and should be able to create files as well. There we go. And there we go. So now I've got a second user, user 2. So I'm going to disconnect now this share. All right. So now I'm going to map the drive again, but I'm going to connect as user 2. Now user 2 does not have is not a member of the group. Okay, but I can still see the contents. I can still read it. Okay. However, what I cannot do is create directories, and I cannot delete files. So now it's a read-only share. Now, this is what usually happens with, especially with newer users. They have this issue that one user can work no problem, whereas the other user gets permission denied all the time. That's usually because they're not a member of the group or they're not the owner of the data set. So they run into this issue. They often come into the forums or the chat room and try to get help. Now, depending on the time of day, you're going to get that help within a few seconds, or it could be a few hours. Or not at all in some cases if nobody's about. So you come back the next day. All right, so now I'm going to add my second user to the shared group. Now, when I add the user to the group, Samba takes a few moments to compose itself, and it doesn't allow access right away. So I'm just going to check up on my server here. So it looks like it's just reloaded. Okay. So I'm now going to try and connect to that share using my second account I just added. I'm going to connect as user 2 as this time. And can I create a folder? Yes, I can. This is user 2 folder. There we go. So user 2. And I should have access to delete. There we go. So there you have it. It's as simple as that. You've just got to make sure you use Windows datasets. You share it out, you assign the group to the dataset, and you make sure the user is a member of the group. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this is one of maybe more. I may make more videos, but yeah, sorry about that if I do. So this is one of maybe many. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you need any assistance, you can find me in the forums or in the chat room. The forums can easily be found at forums.freenas.org. I'm known as Monkey. That's M0NKEY underscore. And then in the FreeNAS chat room, it's on Freenode. That's chat.freenode.net. And you can find me in the channel hashtag FreeNAS. And thank you for watching. I'm not going to do the whole like thing. If you want to, go for it, but I really don't care. There you go, wrapping it up. Thank you for watching.